This is a special edition of Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. We're going to take a look at the health of our first responders, and especially in terms of communication. Our guest is Maggie Hallbach. She's the president of Verizon Frontline. Maggie, welcome to Late Night Health. What is Frontline?
Well, Mark, thank you for having me. And one of the things that I'd just like to say is I'm honored to be speaking with you ahead of National First Responders Day, which is Saturday, October 28th. And we have had a long-standing partnership with the public safety community really for over 30 years. And we work shoulder to shoulder with these brave men and women who put their lives on the line every day. And we are proud to be able to say that over 37,000 public safety agencies have chosen Verizon Frontline to meet their critical communications needs. But our relationship goes beyond that. And it is the support of the first responder community through their associations, through their organizations, and also demonstrations of appreciation, gratitude. And so just a quick and fun example. Last Sunday in Miami, we honored first responders during a first lap for first responders where they were able to take part in a ceremonial first lap at the NASCAR Forever 400. And it also allowed fans to tip their hat, to cheer, to wave, to say thanks. And I think these are just great reminders of the importance of taking a moment to honor. And so I would ask your listeners, if not on Saturday, maybe at some opportunity that they have to shake a hand, to say thanks to a firefighter, an EMT, a police officer. I think it's important.
Absolutely, it is. In a crisis situation, communication between, firefighters, police officers, and even medical personnel is more than critical. It's essential. How does 5G and Verizon make sure that things don't go down, that things happen?
So I will say that 3 decades of working shoulder to shoulder with first responders gives us a unique way to understand the needs of these brave men and women. I would also say that we regularly survey, and so we just completed the Verizon Frontline Public Safety Communication Survey in September, where we surveyed about 2,000 first responders across all of the first response classes, if you will. And the main takeaway, as you just highlighted, is reliable and resilient comms. It is super important to be able to have that lifeline. I think the other thing that I would remind your listeners of is that comms is just not voice comms. It's also the situational data comms. I'll just give you a quick example. If you're an EMT in an ambulance and you've got a critical patient on board, maybe a stroke victim, being able to have support during that transport event from ER docs, from specialists, to ensure that you're providing the level of care that you need, that can really help that first responder do their job more effectively. These are complicated jobs, and the training can be very intensive. And so what we're seeing is there are assistive technologies that are now becoming available to these first responders to help aid them in providing critical care during those very, very important periods of time, like the golden hour for a stroke patient.
So during a stroke patient or a heart attack patient, through Verizon and 5G, can the ER doc or nursing staff back at the hospital see the results? In other words, they see their blood pressure and see all the monitoring that does go on that's necessary. Is that part of the deal?
That is part of the deal. And I will also share with you, when we think about kind of baseline technology, the data insights being able to be communicated back to intake at an emergency room, that's kind of just standard now. But what we're seeing is the use of augmented and virtual reality applications to provide assistive technology to those onboard EMTs. Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting is when we surveyed these first responders, 5% of respondents said that they are using augmented or virtual reality applications on a daily basis, and that is expected to explode to 25% using it daily in 5 years. And one of the most obvious use cases that we've seen emerge is more in the training area. Like I said, these are complex jobs and these are complex situations. And so being able to have a specialist be able to see exactly what's going on in these areas and these environments to then support that individual, man, it helps the patient and it helps that responder.
As an average Verizon user, I'm holding up my iPhone. It says 5G up there, okay? 5G Verizon. So how is the technology that you're developing for first responders, does that help me as a Verizon user as well?
So Verizon invested back in 2021 over $50 billion in 5G spectrum for our C-band block. And that is a nationwide spectrum buy. And that not only benefits our first responders, it also benefits all Verizon subscribers as well. And so we continue to see that all of our users are using 5G and this high availability, high bandwidth, high reliability technology for a variety of different scenarios. And so we have built a portfolio of very unique capabilities, branded Verizon Frontline, just for our public safety agencies. And that does include both volunteer fire as well as professional fire, as an example. So it's not just restricted for some people, right? If you are a first responder within those categories, you can get these very unique sets of capabilities. But the backstop of the most reliable 5G network in America is a benefit that everyone can take advantage of.
And we want to remind everybody that this Saturday, October 28th, I guess it's First Responders Day, right? National First Responders Day. And how can people participate? How can they say thank you to a firefighter or a police officer?
So there are many ways to participate. So one way is to log on to Verizon.com/frontline, where you can read more about Verizon Frontline. The second way is to be active in your community and to demonstrate your appreciation for our first responders. There are many activities that are going on across the country in celebration of National First Responders Day. And so what I would just ask is everyone tip the hat to the brave men and women who are keeping us safe and our communities, those vibrant places where we love to live, work, and play.
And if you see a firefighter or police officer at a fast food place or a Starbucks, buy them a cup of coffee. All right. National First Responders Day is coming up. Our guest has been Maggie Hallbach. She is the president of Verizon Frontline. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Maggie. I'm Mark Alyn, and this is Late Night Health.